Okay, I'm back. Hey, one thing I wanted to mention is don't do this. And you're like, don't do what? Okay, when I'm bifacing, particularly when I'm talking to y'all, I tend to make the biface just sort of as thick, as wide and long as I can, as opposed to the shape that it needs to be for whatever it is that I would like to make out of it, which is usually because I haven't even thought about that because I wasn't, I'm trying to make a video, not make a point. That was bad. I'm hitting it too high. Trying to get things fixed up a little bit, but again, I'm losing my ridges and my contours. See how that's getting shaped that way, but I'll do what I usually do on that. But anyway, you'd be a lot better off because you don't want to be taking long distance shots at stuff unnecessarily, and it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to get the edges all thinning and regularized when you're not going to use that material at all, and just work in closer and get rid of it. But always be paying attention in here, because all this doesn't matter right now except for how it helps me get at the middle. Got to get at the middle. See, that created a fairly okay ridge there. This ridge over here isn't anything special. But sometimes you can sort of move them over. Take those deltas and move the corners of the deltas off. Move them over and straighten them out a little bit and you'll get better runs too. Thin, thicker. Blowing them up, but running them. But again, I wish I had a better technique or a better way of teaching that, because it isn't necessary. I never can remember what all I've told y'all. But I met a guy a couple of years ago that was doing all his initial reduction with what I consider to be a very small solid copper striker that he preferred. I didn't have a lot of mass though. So when he started using it, I was like, what the heck am I going to see here? How's this guy going to get a point out of a rock with that percussor? And basically, he just had different technique, because what he was doing was he just kept, using fairly steep beveling flakes to bring the rock in and get it down to size and get it the shape he wanted for his preform, and then did most of the thinning to the end. And it worked fine. I mean, it was a good technique. He did well with it. Get what he wants with it. So you definitely can do things a bunch of different ways. You don't have to be dramatic ways. Don't have to be the big noisy showy ways. All those flakes stunk. You know why? Look, they all ran to here. They're not overlapping. They're running to the center, but they're not running past the center. So I ain't thinning. Darn my nose. Thickness. Thickness is the enemy. You can get away with stuff, but you also can avoid needing to get away with stuff. I'm like riding a bicycle backwards in a storm, you know, it's all crisis. Management by crisis. It'd be far less impressive looking if I was doing management without crisis. That would be more indicative of a high level of skill, but oh well. I do think I'd probably make some people feel good by thinking, well, you know, I may not be great, but at least I don't nap like freeze crack. That went to there, so. Down went to there. Then, but the thinner I get this, it's still wide, and I certainly don't have any award-winning pattern. This would be a decent tool like it is. I mean, you know, I could do something with it, but I really like using the side of my hand now like this and coming in and hitting like that, because for some reason I can hit very accurately that way, and I can get some really crazy flakes that way. Not sure what it is about it. Like, what are you making? Well, it's a wide Gary drill. I'm fixing to go to Louisiana to one of my favorite gatherings with Tex and Louise and everybody else. Apes. Don't worry about it, I'm not. Got half of it. Dang, caught it thin and didn't do squat. Plus this needs to be tore it a little bit and made it fail. I wonder if there was any other things that I was going to mention that I haven't. Now, folks, I had a little hinge over here that I was trying to cut, and I hit that flake, very thin flake, and hit all the way over there. But the reason that flake did so well was because I hit really fast and barely on a little bitty platform and had good back edge support and everything right and all, and it just is, I don't know what to say. I don't know how to tell people to try and do that. I think, again, for the vast majority that aren't going to nap a bazillion hours to try and get where they can strike that way, you know, it's better to try and set things up right. I'm kind of a bad teacher for that because I almost never do it, so. Along those same lines, somebody that's a really great napper told me one or more times, you know, that they thought that it was good that I was doing video because the techniques that I'm using are not the most advanced requirements as far as edge preparation and working off of very thin edges, etc. And I kind of agree with that because, you know, there are things you can do if you develop a certain level of understanding and skill that just others never really get to. So if you want to nap like the old boys, you know, a lot of them probably napped more or less constantly. That stunk. I'm just working off too thin now. No ridge. I can still deal with that though, but I may have to go to indirect. I can go to percussion initiated pressure. What am I doing? Where's my punch? Oh. I really need to come in and make a St. Mary's Hall out of this thing. Bear in mind, I do not feel at all required to, where's my string? I don't feel at all required to make clean, pretty bifaces. Okay, so I switched that hinge for this hinge, but that one will pick off, I think. A lot of it picked off. So now if I really want to get crazy, I could try and attack it from this side. But I really think I'm just setting myself for even more embarrassment and humiliation and never showing my face on the interwebs again. Get some force into this. Hinged. Okay, so now I wonder if I just hit around the corner. Maybe not. You're like, what am I doing? Well, I'm tired, and I my wooden striker. Well, that blew that off and came all the way into there. You know, I isolated it, which made it start out a narrower run. I put a lot of pressure on it, which kept it from blowing up, and then I went with the slower, bigger, bonkier force. So, but actually, I'm just kind of goofing around here because I still have plenty of thickness here. So, this is not really the finished thing, although I could sharpen the edges and have a great disarticulation tool if I was going to disarticulate anything. But since I'm probably not, I'll probably come on in to right about there and have it thin when I do, and this will be a pretty little St. Mary's Hall. Yeah, I did. Yep, just gotta have situations right. See, I can be shooting around all day, and I ain't gonna get to that. And you know why? You know why? I'll tell you why. Because this is wrong. It don't matter which of my tools I grab out of my toolbox unless it's a Dremel tool, in which case I can be and I'll be gone. But see, hopefully y'all understand where I'm coming from. Okay, I gotta go find some food because I'm losing energy and steam. Bye for now. Freeze crack. I did that on purpose. Hit there, 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 and there. Didn't even put any risk whatsoever on that biface. And even if it had, I got way more rocks I can hit, and I can hit them. So there you go. Good to see y'all. Thanks for watching. If you didn't watch, then ignore this. Bye.